It's time for Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here is your host, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome in on Hump Day. So nice to have you. And let me just say this. Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. It's going to be hot. It's going to be blazing hot. So, ladies and gentlemen, just as a, what do we call it, a PSA? It is going to get actual temperature today, 99 degrees according to my phone. I believe Ron Childers and the folks at MC had it at 100. But here's the deal. Between 2 and 3, high of 100 today. It is going to get to 100. But between 2 and 3, it will feel like 115. 115. I remember the year before I moved to Memphis. It was 1980. I was in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. And I think Memphis and Cape at that point had very similar weather patterns because I can remember Dave Brown talking about this. There was a stretch, and I want to say it was like 30 or 40 days, where it never got below 80 degrees, even at night. That was in 1980. This is the hottest since then. In London, England yesterday, the hottest day in London's history, it was 104 degrees, and they had fires breaking out everywhere. It's crazy. Europe, hottest it's ever been. And we've got that. And the worst part is it's only going to get worse. It's going to be staying like this for a while if you believe these 10-day forecasts or even like what, 7-day, 10-day. I think Channel 3 has the extended 10-day. They do 3+ or whatever they call it. We are looking at 100 tomorrow, 102 the next day, 99 on Saturday, 101 on Sunday, 101 on Monday, upper 90s on Tuesday and Wednesday. It's crazy. Crazy. So it's not going away anytime soon. My suggestion, sincerely, is please stay hydrated if you don't have to get in the sun. Like folks, I am golf fanatic. And I was supposed to play today. I'm not playing today. It's 115 degrees. I'm not doing that. That's crazy. So be smart. If you got to cut the lawn, work on your pool, whatever, which I will have to do later, I'm going to do it quickly, and I'm going to make sure I hydrate because heat stroke is for real for older people and for young kids. Like if you got a young kid and he's going to camp or whatever, make sure you give him a water bottle full of cold water so that he can hydrate too or she can hydrate too, because that's what I'm hearing from all these experts. The most vulnerable are older and younger. JMO, you fit in the middle somewhere.
Somewhere in the middle. Sounds like that 99 on Saturday, though, is going to be a nice, cool, relaxing day, though, compared to what all the other days are going to be like.
Well, yeah, I don't know where that, but I don't know the humidity levels because that really is what the feel like is, and I love that they do that because you do get a better sense. If you looked out there and you go, oh, I've played in 95-degree weather before, but if you've got the humidity so high that it feels like 108, that's a big difference.
It's not all created equal.
No. It is not. So prepare for the heat. The All-Star game, I kind of enjoyed it. I liked what Fox did. I like this new guy. He's not Joe, but he did a pretty good job with Smoltz. Joe Davis is his name, right? He's not Joe Buck, but he does have a similar delivery. In the way his speech pattern is, there is a similarity. And I don't know if Fox purposely did that or what they were thinking about, but I love the way they mic'd it up. I really felt like the players were very good. Those that did agree to that. It was a fun experience. Hard to believe that the American League has now won 9 in a row. I remember there was a stretch when I was first starting to play fantasy baseball, this is like mid-'80s, where the National League won every year. The American League could not win a game. Now the National League can't win. I thought when Paul Goldschmidt made it 2-0, I thought, okay, National League's going to finally win a game. That's the biggest lead they've had in like 10 years. 2 runs. Didn't hold up. Giancarlo Stanton, 457-foot bomb. Wow.
They keep showing pictures of the bat hitting the baseball, and they showed
Yeah.
the replay of it. I mean, this happens whenever someone hits a ball hard, but you can see the ball
Compress
against the bat. Unbelievable thing to see.
You know what? I love when they do that super slow-mo with a golf ball, and you can see how it compresses. Because obviously, if you don't have that extra slow-mo, which I don't know what they're shooting.
How many
that
frames
thing
a
at.
second?
Yeah, exactly. Like 1,000 frames a second, whatever it is, some crazy number. But you can't see the compression. But then you really understand the science of it a lot better when you can examine it that way. And you're right, the compression on the baseball. You know, the other thing I thought was interesting, too, at least in both the Giancarlo Stanton and the Byron Buxton home runs, was when they're hitting the ball, you see the compression of the ball, but watch their hand. Their hand, actually, it seems like upon impact, it kind of makes the bat kind of comes sort of off the hand slightly because of the impact of the fast speed that the ball has. It's really interesting.
It's like a split-second thing, too. You would, like you said, you'd never be able to see it otherwise, but it's like the vibration of the bat, whatever, just dislodge it for just a second out of their hand.
It does. Isn't that interesting?
It's unbelievable.
And yet, but then they quickly regain control for the follow-through, and it's something else. The Stanton home run was big because that equalized the game, and then Buxton put him ahead. Stanton was the MVP. I think that was his first hit in All-Star appearances. He was 0 for 6 coming into that game. So
a worthy player too, former MVP.
Oh, yeah. So he's like he's been an MVP, he's an All-Star MVP, and he's a home run derby winner. Like those 3 things, there's only 1 or 2 other people that have done that in the history of the game. So that's kind of cool.
Now all the Yankees need is a World Series, and he can win World Series MVP.
Yeah. So while he's the MVP, the guy who I think comes out the worst in all of this is Rob Manfred, the commissioner of Major League Baseball, who yesterday, remember, this guy makes $17.5 million a year. He took umbrage with being questioned, and, MLB had to fork over a bunch of money to minor leaguers. And he was saying, I reject the notion that minor leaguers are not making a living wage. So here are facts, Mr. Commissioner. If you are not on the 40-man roster, you only get paid for being in season, okay? And your salary ranges, if you're not on the 40-man roster, your salary ranges from $4,800 to $14,700. So you tell me if that is a living wage in this day and age with $5 gasoline, with rent that goes out of the roof. Are you kidding me?
Furthermore, they have to work second jobs, a lot of these guys that are on 40-man rosters.
Just about everybody does.
Yeah.
Even if you're a AAA guy making $14,700, you can't live on that.
Absolutely not.
You better have a working wife or something.
More than one income, absolutely.
Man, that is – I don't understand him. He continually puts his foot in his mouth. And he's making $17.5 million. He should be a little bit more considerate. And frankly, Major League Baseball should be a little bit, and I think they are getting to the point, which is what he should have said. They are trying to rectify that. They are giving minor leaguers more money. I think in the next CBA they will get more money. And there's a separate CBA with the minor leagues. So if he had just said, you know what, this is wrong, and we are doing everything we can to right it, and we're going to. He didn't say that. He took umbrage with being questioned about how bad it is. And $4,800 to $14,700 are facts. How in the world can you dispute that? It's maddening, crazy. Today, SEC Media Days, oh, yes, we will chat with Gabe Kuhn in about 3 minutes about Well, the things that got me yesterday, Clark Lee, the Vanderbilt coach, stating that Vanderbilt will become the best program in the country. And I hear Nick Saban and Kirby Smart, they really shuddered when they heard those remarks. They're scared. And then Mike Leach, with his humor, will get the Gabe Kuhn impression of SEC Media Day 2 today. Arkansas, Sam Pittman, Florida with Billy Napier. Kirby Smart already has been on the dais. And Kentucky with Mr. Stoops. That should be a fun day. And, of course, Gabe and Stats are there covering this in Atlanta for all of us. We got plenty of golf to talk about. Henrik Stenson, who, by the way, is the 172nd ranked player in the world, but he is, or was, the Ryder Cup captain for Europe. Henrik Stenson has given up his Ryder Cup captaincy basically for $40 million, because that's what Liv is paying him. I think it's a 3-year deal. $40 million just to show up, I guess, with a chance to make more money. And he's giving up legacy and history. Wow. I am amazed at the money grab. I guess I shouldn't be. If somebody was offering me lifetime guarantee, I'd have to think about it. Henrik Stenson, though, if I were Stenson, I would have said, maybe I'll do this after 24. But, he's 46 years old, so I guess he had to cash in. The rumors are out there. I hate to say this. And we'll talk with Johnny and Mickey about all of this. And, by the way, the Memphis Amateur Championship, the MAC, which used to be the Pub Links, this week, our own Eli Savoy. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but heck, it's out now. Eli Savoy is playing in this. Eli, by the way, can hit the ball. He can hit a long way. So we're going to chat with them about that and these defections. Oh, yeah. Hideki Matsuyama, rumors that $300 million will come his way if he joins the Liv. And I hate to say this because I'm really looking forward to seeing him. My pick that made me number one in the picks this week. Now, Cameron Smith may be leaving. I don't know what. I think he's offered $100 million.
No, I've heard 90 and 100, so somewhere around there. And David Faraday, too, also headed there.
Don't say that. I love David Faraday.
Me too.
I'm a little surprised about David Faraday for this reason. David Faraday was born in the United Kingdom. He's a UK guy. I don't know if he ever played on a European Ryder Cup team. He might have. Look that up. But he came to America, and he stayed in America, and he is one of the great patriots. If you've ever heard him speak, and I've had the pleasure of doing that, he talks about becoming an American and how much America means to him. And he's with Wounded Warriors, and he does a lot of military things. For him to go, I don't know what the money is, but for him to go, that's shocking to me. Really shocking to me, just because of the political aspect of it. And I think David Faraday's made a lot of money from his golf show on the Golf Channel. And he was lured away by NBC from CBS. So I don't know, but I'm really surprised at that move.
That's big for their telecast. 1991 Ryder Cup team.
So there he is. Wow. That, to me, is pretty shocking. So, by the way, Mickey is going to be first. J-Mo, you're out of the cellar. Johnny, and then me. But that's for later. We head down to Atlanta. Our friend Gabe Kuhn. We're sitting in the Family Leisure Studios there. We're moving into Atlanta for a little bit. And the vacation at home sale, whether it's here or in Atlanta, oh, yeah, it's still on with play gyms and trampolines. Those are $500 off. Hot tubs in stock, ready to go. If you pick it up, you get $1,000 off. And if you're a real do-it-yourselfer, $1,500 off. If you pick up an above-ground pool and install it yourself, you'll save that much money on anything in stock. At I-40 and Wooden Road, Family Leisure, where family and fun come together. And a reminder, this show always is presented by Homer. Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch, where you'll never pay more than sticker price. That is the philosophy of Chris True and of Homer. Some dealerships, and I saw this report the other day on the network news, where a lot of dealerships are $7,500 over sticker price because of the shortage. Law of supply and demand. That does not happen at 78 and Craft Road, the first exit in Mississippi. Chris True will tell you straight up, you'll never pay more than sticker price at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Gabe Kuhn, how are you this morning?
I am fantastic. I cannot complain. It's a lovely day. It was a little rainy yesterday, so we've moved through that. No storms in the area. Like I said, Dave, I have no complaints. And if I did, you wouldn't want to hear them anyway. How are you guys doing?
Well, I might want to hear your complaints, but you're right. For the most part, people don't care.
Yeah.
You know what they
Generally
say?
how it goes.
Half don't care, and then the other half are happy.
Yeah. I hear you.
So,
I hear you.
anyway, let us get to what occurred yesterday to start with before we get into today. And that is two things that struck me. Mike Leach's humor, and, he would just be a lot of fun to cover. Because you never know what the heck's going to come out of his mouth. And most of the time, whatever it is going to make you think or laugh. So I really like Mike Leach. And then there's Clark Lee, who said Vanderbilt is going to become the best program in the country. Do you think, Gabe Kuhn, he really believes that?
Oh, my gosh. Do I think he believes that? That's a tough question to answer. I can't really climb into his head. I will say, you got to have confidence. If you're going to turn around a program like that, you have to believe that you're going to coach and bring that team along. I thought that was a step too far. I mean, that's ridiculous to say. You better start paying an inordinate amount of money to recruits if you want to be the best program in the country. And Vandy, let's be honest, with the academic hoops you have to jump through in recruiting, with the amount of money that they don't invest in that football program, that's just not going to happen. So Clark Lee went a step too far there. I did kind of enjoy, though, Dave, his opening statement. I said this yesterday with Johnny. I like the messaging with a team like Vandy, with a school like Vandy, of we need to be looking inside. We need to look in the mirror before we look out the window. We don't need to worry about everything else going on in the SEC. We need to find a way to build confidence within our doors. And I thought that part of it was fantastic, but I agree with you. That is insanity to say that Vanderbilt's going to be the best football program in the nation coming up really soon.
I would agree with one of your original premises. We know Alabama's budget for NIL at this point is $3 million.
Yep.
They'd have to go to $5 or $6 million probably. Which at this point they could do if somebody was crazy enough to want to really invest in that.
Right. So Vandy's going to need a lot of nil money. I saw also this was today. Kirby Smart just left the podium. He said 95 of his players now have NIL deals. He said they're gaudy numbers, and he said they're blessed to be in that position. But 95 guys on the roster. Think about this: only 85 scholarship players. So you have walk-ons and otherwise getting NIL deals. That's pretty substantial.
That's what Texas Tech said. They have 111 guys with their walk-ons. Every one of them is getting $25,000 to start from the one entity, the one collective they've got. So
Dave, I was just a few years
crazy.
Too early, huh?
Boy,
that was a few years too early.
You know what? You would have been at least worth $722.
Where's that number coming from?
I don't know.
I'm confused.
Just came from my head. I know.
You couldn't even give me 1,000. You couldn't give me four figs. Come on.
Actually, I loved the way you played. I really did, and your intensity and your discipline with it, and how hard you worked at it. So I would have thought, seriously, if I were a guy giving out NIL money, if I were part of the collective, or if I were the guy that was putting together a program, and I think there should be sort of a salary cap for all of this, I would make sure that everybody got equal amounts of money, at least to start with. And then if a guy is a star and goes out and works his own deals on his own, or if a car a dealership comes to them because they think they're going to get something out of using that guy, as well as the guy getting money, then I'm all for that. But there should be like a little base thing where a guy, where an offensive lineman or center, as many people think is the most important guy on the football team. If you listen to Bob Rush on the radio broadcast for years, I think they should get equal money.
Now, Dave, I have to say to start, all those compliments, I am blushing right now. I'm going to give you aw shucks for that. I am blushing right now with all those compliments you gave me. But no, I see what you mean. The one thing I've seen and I sort of hear around, when we talk about guardrails on NIL, I just need people to understand what they're talking about. And I think a lot of people, when we use that guardrails term, it's about limiting. It's about cap. It's about making sure that everybody can be on a level playing field. When in reality, it's never been like that in college football. I think when we talk,
what's wrong about trying to get to that point?
No, I'm not against setting guardrails. The only point I'm saying, I think if you have caps, and if you limit anything. We're in a free market right now, Dave. I mean, for lack of a better term, it is a free market. And I think there's some good things about it and there's some really horrible things about it. And that includes agents taking advantage of student athletes. But I feel like if there is a set of rules implemented to limit anything that these athletes can do, you can't do business with a certain type of company or anything like that. If they set caps on how much you can make per player, that type of thing, the only thing that concerns me is the possible litigation that would come out of that. And I just don't think that would end pretty. I feel like from a free market perspective, the toothpaste is out of the tube. To put it back in, I just don't think you can do that without doing substantial harm.
I would counter that with this, and then I want to ask you what you really are looking forward to today. I would say the toothpaste is definitely out of the tube on payers getting the rights to share in the revenue, okay? But I still think in order to have some semblance of a competitive field out there, there has to be some, and you can do this, some guidance, whether that comes from the federal government or these power conferences, maybe that's the two of the SEC and the Big Ten, where they appoint a guy that says, you know what, we have to really look at the better of all. Even those two super conferences, they need to have some sort of a guy or a body that says we're overlooking everything for the good of the college sport. And that's where we're not at this moment. And that's where I think guidance is needed. And I do think there needs to be. And I want the players to have some of the revenue. I don't care what the amount is, but it should be a fair share for everybody. That makes sense. Right now you've got a war going on between the coaches for their players and fundraisers for the universities.
What Lane Kiffin said the other day about payroll in the MLB, and that's what it is right this second. As much as people are uncomfortable with that idea, as much as people want to shoot down exactly the words that he used to describe it, he talked about the MLB payroll system and how it's unregulated, and the Yankees and the Red Sox and the haves and have-nots. It's always going to be that discrepancy. As much as people want to shoot that down, he's correct. That's what it is right this second. I just wonder how we can get away from that without facing an inordinate amount of litigation in that space.
What's the thing you're most looking forward to today?
Oh, today. So it was before they actually stepped to the podium. I wanted to see Pit Boss. He was fantastic. They talked about him being 16-6 against the spread since he's been at Arkansas. He gave a Go Hogs after that. That was fantastic. I wanted to hear Kirby coming off the Natty, and I thought he did a good job. Talked about his NIL and what he's doing to attract players and get recruiting. Now, of the guys we have not seen so far today, my biggest, and I think Mark Stoops will go up there and be fine. Mark Stoops has done a great job at Kentucky, and people have to understand that. But I'm ready to see Billy Napier. I'm ready to see what he does in SEC Media Day, his first SEC Media Days, because I thought so far this offseason, coming off that Mullen disaster, let's be honest about it, Mullen disaster down the stretch of last season, I thought he has hit every right note, to be honest with you, this offseason. So I just want to see him continue that and see what he has to say about the recruiting space, because Dan Mullen was wary about being overly involved in the recruiting space, and that's why Florida fans didn't like him. I want to see what he says about NIL, and I want to see what he says in regards to what Florida and what their identity is going to be this year. And of course, I do want to see Anthony Richardson up there. Got to see him in person. I want to see him in person, see how big he is, and see how he responds to the questions the press asks him.
Here's what I've wondered about. Use it if you want. This is for Billy Napier, and it has to do with recruiting. We know that Florida has either 1, 2, or 3, depending on the year, the most high school athletes in the country, either California, Texas, or Florida, all the time. But out of all those other states, and Texas might be a good battle, but when you consider the power conferences and schools, because UCF is becoming one, you've got Miami, you've got Florida State, and you've got Florida. There's 4 schools right there. And USF could be a part of that equation because they got a lot of students there too. Is Florida the hardest state to keep the top players at home? Just a curious question.
That's a very, very tough one. And a lot of Florida. There's a lot of Florida guys at Alabama. There's a lot of Florida guys that go to Georgia as well.
No
so I think that's a great point. And yeah, you're right. The in-state competition is unbelievable. Now, up till this point, I don't know if anybody, and like last year, for example, Dan Mullen there, you had Gus at UCF, you have Mike Norvell at Florida State, and at Miami you had Manny Diaz. So there was I don't know, there was nobody with an edge in the state of Florida. I think Billy Napier has a little bit of it now. But I know J-Mo is going to like what I have to say here. Miami right this second with what Mario Cristobal is doing.
I agree.
It's going to be tough, and it's going to get slimmer every single year because I think he's going to steal a lot of those in-state.
And I don't think Norvell will stay down forever. I think if they stay with him, he'll get things turned around. Gabe, go and enjoy. I know. I guess we're going to talk to Stats tomorrow, so be safe coming home, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Dave.
Thank you. That is Gabe Kuhn on hand. And he's brought to you, and all day long they are giving reports out from Gabe and Stats from Atlanta. It's brought to you by First National Bank and Trust, Landers Ford and Collierville, Mossy Oak Golf Club, and those great golf stick pretzels. Memphis Tourism, Ronnie Grzantes, Gould's, Quick Close Sal, and Jason's Deli. Best corned beef in town. Jason's Deli. Thank you all for bringing the SEC Media Days to us. We're going to talk golf with Johnny Lyon and with Mickey Barker in a second. They're brought to you in part by Conway. It's hot. I mentioned it's going to get to 115. My house will be cool today because I got the tune-up. I got it from Conway, 384-3511. I called that number. They came over. They gave me the 16-point Energy Saver Super Tune-Up. They cleaned my outside units. They checked for Freon leaks, so I know I'm full there, and my house is cool. My MLGW bill, not crazy because I'm in tune, I'm efficient. Oh, and by the way, they keep telling me if I tune my system up twice a year, my system will last 5 to 10 years longer. 384-3511. Contact the premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric company in all the Mid-South. You know it. It's Conway. Back in a second with golf. This is Wolo and Friends.
You have opinions?
Uh-huh.
Of course you do. Everyone does. Hit us up on the AutoZone listener line. 360-8255. 360-8255.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. Have you been turned down by your homeowner's insurance in the past 12 months for damage you believe you're owed? Call Brian Elder Roofing now. Our professionals will do a no-obligation, thorough evaluation of your property and document all damage we find. Our fully certified Hague inspectors are trained to identify storm damage to assess and build a full estimate in a language your carrier will understand. If there is no damage found, we will tell you just that. We build a data file of your actual storm damage for your carrier, all at no cost to you, free. So call now for your comprehensive roof guarantee from Brian Elder Roofing. Call us, 867-0303. That's 867-0303, or schedule online at brianelderroofing.com. Because if you think it's a claim, we'll help you show it's a claim.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Hey Patriots, Colin Johnston here from DeSoto Auto Sales. And it's time to put the can in American, because this month I can help you get approved. It's the 4th of July all month long. That means it's time to break free from past credit mishaps. Even if you've been told no in the past credit problems are no problem for us. I want to help you break free in a nicer, newer car, because I believe everyone deserves to drive a nicer, newer car. That's why I drafted my For the People credit approval process. Plus, my solution specialists are the American Dream Team. They can get almost anyone approved. So stop driving a car you hate, because I want you to be approved and find freedom in a nicer, newer car today. You could even drive for little to no money down. But hurry, this dynamite deal won't last long. I'm Colin Johnston, your All-American dealer for the people. New rides are popping on the lot daily. See all my explosive rides at DeSotoAutoSales.com. That's DESOTO Autosales.com.
Credit and down payment require bank approval. Negative equity may be refinanced. Offer absolutely expires on July 31st, 2022.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Golf picks coming your way in a minute, brought to you by the Eflin Insurance team. You know, Maddie's a big Tiger guy. In the Eflin Insurance number, there's a real nod to the U of M. It's 901-386-GER. For Tigers, that's 4777. And Matt's team does it a sort of different way. It's called collaboration. He sits down, he gets to know you, knows what your goals are, knows what's important to you, knows what your budget is, and then picks the right protection. Whether that's home, whether it's auto, whether it's life insurance, they get to know you, and then they figure it all out. Same thing with commercial insurance, particularly small to mid-sized businesses. All you got to do is call 901-386-4777. That's the Eflin Insurance team. So we got a changing of the guard, kind of like the way this thing is with the PGA and the LIV. I won last week with Cameron Smith, so I now lead nearly $7 million. Johnny, $6.5. J-Mo is now third with $5.25 million, $5.2 million. That's Mickey Barker. Oh my gosh, the man in charge of all of City Golf has slipped all the way to the bottom. I know that won't last for long. But, Mickey, hard times. Not hard times for you, though, with public golf because things are going swimmingly. And you've got your MAC championship, the Memphis Championships, the amateur championships this week at Audubon and at Galloway, right?
Right. With our course renovations going on, Galloway and Audubon were really our only choice to host. So we're having the first day at Audubon and the final 2 rounds at Galloway. We got a big field again, right at 130 players.
Wow.
Again this year, so we're really excited about it. It's going to be a little hot for the golfers,
yes.
but fortunately they're riding and lots of water, and they'll be in good shape.
All right, Johnny, you were the only one that was right about Tiger not making the cut. Cameron Smith had a great performance. Is there a better putter that you've seen other than yourself than Cameron Smith?
He obviously knows that course really well, and seemed to have more course knowledge than anybody. But it was a long British Open. I mean, it was 6-hour rounds. It was 5,000 commercials. I mean,
it was long. I'll tell you,
difficult to watch.
One thing I can't remember, Mickey, you tell me if you can, more drivable greens because there was no wind. That could drive 5 or 6 greens each day.
Right. They've had very little rain there, so the ground was really, really hard. Fairways were running fast or faster than the greens were, and so these guys, of course, they hit it 9 miles anyway, and getting 100, 150 yards a roll. So yeah, it brought a lot of greens into play to be driven.
I know this story might be getting fatiguing, but it's just continually happening. Henrik Stenson, who is not a big get in terms of world ranking, 172nd in the world, and I think he's 46 years old. He is giving up his Ryder Cup captaincy to accept, we hear, $40 million to leave for the Live Tour. There's rumors that Cameron Smith's going to go, that Hideki Matsuyama might be offered $300 million to go. These guys are making the money grab. Stenson, I'm a little surprised because there's history and legacy when you're talking about the Ryder Cup that he's willing to give up. But, Johnny, the money is just too much for these guys.
Yeah, like I spoke to you earlier this morning for a minute, and I told you there was a big article out on Donald Trump is advising all these guys to take the money and that everything points to a merger with the Live Tour and the PGA Tour, and that big money is going to go away soon. And Trump was saying, that this is the time to jump on that bandwagon and grab the money before they quit offering it.
I just cannot see that Jay Monahan and the PGA would merge with this group. I could see there could be some sort of a compromise, but I don't see, Mickey, and I could be way wrong on this. This is just my gut feel from all the rhetoric that's gone on thus far. But I don't see the PGA getting in bed with this group from Saudi Arabia. Do you?
I really don't. I don't either. But as we can see with my picks, I'm quite often wrong. So I really don't know what's coming down the pike in the next year or so. It's a new world as far as the tours go and professional golf, and kind of wait and see what happens next.
Well, again, I don't think they've gotten anybody higher than number 28 in the world golf rankings. If they get Cam Smith, that would change because he's number 2. And Matsuyama is a worldwide name. $300 million. That would be $100 million a year because I think it's a 3-year deal, right? And I know he would have to show up for, this will be their 3rd, so he'd end up with either 6 or 5 events this year. And I don't know if they're going to 14 next year or what they're doing. It's just unbelievable, and it's hard to do a business against a group that doesn't have a business model. They don't care about losing money. It's just crazy.
Didn't they just pick up David Faraday, the announcer?
Well, we don't know officially yet, but that's the word, is that he is going to leave NBC, which I said earlier, if you've ever listened to David Faraday speak, and I've had the privilege of getting to know him over one event here that I emceed, he's a patriot. And he does a lot of different military things like Wounded Warriors and things of that nature. He's become very American, even though he played for the European side from UK on the Ryder Cup in the early 90s. But I'm shocked that he would go to bed with this group. But maybe the money they're offering him, and it's, maybe he's tired of all the schlepping that he has to do.
It's looking like possibly, in my opinion, they may pick up Nick Faldo since he retired.
Well, if they got Faldo and David Faraday, that would be quite the combo. The interesting aspect of that is they got to get a television network first because all they're doing is streaming at the moment. But maybe that's the way the whole future's going. All right, we better make our picks before we run out of time. Mickey, it's the 3M. It is a different field than the one we picked last week. That is for sure. You, however, get to go first.
Well, I'm going to go pretty well chalk here. Take the highest ranked player in Tony Finau.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I would too. All right, J-Mo out of the cellar. Who are you going with?
I'm going to forego a top 50 player this week, and I'm going to take Cam Davis.
Wow. Cam Davis. Okay. Love it. That means, Johnny, you're next.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to take Hideki.
I don't blame you for that. Hideki Matsuyama. So, of the top 50 guys that are left, what have you guys left me? You've left me Sunjae Im.
Good pick.
Cam Tringale. I'm not going to take a top 50 guy. I'm going to go with a guy I think is due. I'm going to go with Sahith Theegala.
Great pick, Dave. Took him right off my list.
Yeah. That gets us back to you.
Yeah, Davis Riley. I think that's a pretty easy one.
Yep.
Outside the top 50.
I like that. I like both your picks. Very good. J-Mo.
Well rested, too. I'm going to take Svensson.
Adam Svensson, who, by the way, is listed as the number one ranked in the power rankings this week by PGA Tour for this particular tournament. Johnny.
I am going to take Stuart Sink.
Really? You're going old on us?
Old man, yeah.
Wow.
I like the way he plays. His son's a good caddy, and
yeah,
they make a good team.
So you guys have left me Davis Riley. You've left me Cam Davis. You've left me Maverick McNeely. They're all rated higher than the guy I'm going to pick. I'm going to go with Adam Hadwin.
Canadian. Good
pick. Good pick.
So, here we go. Finau and Riley. Clearly, Mickey is the favorite this week. Cam Davis, Adam Svensson for J-Mo. Hideki Matsuyama, who could be. What happens? What will we do, Johnny, if he withdraws to be a live guy before they tee off tomorrow?
Yeah. If he withdraws, I'll take Dylan Fratelli.
We're going to allow that. Dylan Fratelli. And then I've got Theegala and Adam Hadwin. Also, Johnny's got his shock, Stuart Sink. We're all set, guys. We appreciate it. Mickey, I hope that the Memphis Amateur is fantastic. I know it will be. And I may have to come by and watch a little bit, but it's too hot for me to play in.
It is going to be hot. One thing, Fox Meadows opening August 5th. So we'll be on the new greens on August 5th.
August 5th. So we only got to wait two and a half weeks.
Right.
And Fox Meadows is back. Tell me about those greens. How good are they going to be?
They're going to be fantastic. They're a month ahead of schedule. We were planning opening on Labor Day, but they've grown in so well and they look so good. We're going to be opening a month early, so really excited about playing the new greens there.
Oh, I can't wait to see Ali and all the great crew that is at Fox Meadows, and I know they're going to be happy to have people back. That is terrific. Thank you, Mickey. Thank you, Johnny. We'll talk next week.
Yep. Good luck
Thanks,
on the tournament, and I want to say hi to Alan Harris.
Oh yeah, Alan
Did a
Harris.
Good job out there.
Oh, he does. He is a superintendent. There is no doubt about that. Thank you, guys. This portion of the show, Swedish Sugar, is brought to you by Dinstall's. You know, Dinstall's always has summer sizzling specials. They always have Cashew Crunch. They still have strawberries, and they will for just a little bit longer. Got to take advantage because nobody does strawberries with that incredible fondant that no one knows what's in it, but it makes the strawberry breakdown. It makes it even sweeter, and then you cover it with the Dinstall's chocolate, which is the best in the Mid-South, and you've got a classic taste. And by the way, people who leave always go crazy. They would love to have a taste of Memphis, and there's no question. A taste of Memphis of the Mid-South, it's Dinstall's candies. You want to send a flavor to a friend out of town, it's simple. Go to any of the 5 locations, they'll send it for you. All you got to do is head to Laurelwood in my neck of the woods where they make the candy. That is on Pleasant View. Then there's Germantown, there's Collierville, there's downtown. There's 5 ways to make somebody's life sweeter with Dinstall's. Back in a minute, we'll be joined by Jarvo from Action News 5. He comes your way in just a minute.
Let former Memphis Tiger Gabe Kuhn and Brett Norsworthy take you home every afternoon with Sports Time on Sports 56. Weekdays from 3 to 6 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
There are a lot of people today that say they will buy your home, but there's one company that follows through every time. When you want to make a deal for real money, go with the Real Deal guys who will make you money. Go with Quick Close Sell Memphis. Quick Close Sell will respect you with a solid offer. No matter the property, no matter the situation, Quick Close Sell will pay you a fair price quickly and easily. For a no-obligation offer, go to QuickCloseSell.com, and Frank will call you right away. That's QuickCloseSell.com before you sell your home.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Now that the warmer weather has arrived, let Choate's perform their $99 20-point AC tune-up to get your AC ready for the hot summer months ahead. Also, Choate's is offering our half-off 1 pound of Freon coupon on our website for you to use. Does your HVAC system need to be replaced? If so, right now is an excellent time to take advantage of Carrier's 60 months, no-interest financing on select systems. Want to improve your indoor air quality? Choates is also offering our new Abco air purifier for $100 off when you get your air ducts cleaned. UV technology sterilizes biological contaminants and neutralizes odors and toxic VOCs. Match that technology with getting your air ducts cleaned, and you'll have the indoor air quality your family needs. Better call 347-8086 today. These specials won't last long. Turn to the experts with Choates and let our family serve your family.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. Roofing and siding, gutters too. We're the pros you can trust to get it done right. Call on us. 5-Ash Roofing, the name to know. 5-Ash Roofing, the only way to go. 5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. 5-Ash Roofing.
Is that not the corniest thing you've ever heard? Can you believe I paid good money for that silly jingle? Well, the experts say make it memorable, and I think I got my money's worth. 5-Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5-Ash Roofing, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
First National Bank and Trust, with its roots in Eastern Arkansas as a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, now firmly in West Tennessee. Eastern Arkansas's largest independently owned bank now in West Tennessee. First National Bank and Trust, with offices at 775 Ridge Lake Boulevard, 901-498-5763, and in Collierville. First National Bank and Trust focuses on their clients in the Mid-South with all their banking needs: personal banking, business banking, and online banking, and the mobile app. Courage and confidence has been displayed by First National Bank and Trust officers throughout its history. In good times and in challenging times, First National Bank and Trust has been recognized as one of the most progressive banking institutions in the country. Commercial, residential, recreational, customers depend on First National Bank and Trust because they know real estate. 901-498-5763, and contact Brooks Winchester or any member of the First National Bank and Trust team.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
I think I mentioned this as we've been talking golf, that they had the Bubba at Miramichi. They had to move back the girls. They were so good. A girl from Japan and a girl from China were 1 and 2. It's incredible what the Bubba brings. And where do they play the Bubba? What's good enough to play the Bubba? 7,400 yards at Miramichi in Woodstock, 12 minutes north of downtown Memphis. Real easy to get there on 51. It sits on 330 acres of beauty. They can play it at 7,400. I think they were playing the girls at about 60 maybe about 6,000 yards, and they kept moving them back. They were so darn good. Then there's the terrace that sits when it's not too hot. You want to go there after the round. It sits with the best view in Shelby County of 918. The sky, the ponds, a fountain. It's gorgeous. I promise. Full-service bar, TVs to watch games. Sometimes there's bands. It's just a great experience. Miramichi, just north of downtown Memphis. Jarvis Greer joins us now. We haven't really talked much about this, but Alex Lomax has decided he's going to end his collegiate career. Let's face it, he went through senior day last year. He's had so many injuries, and he wants to make some money, and I don't blame him. I've got a feeling he'll end up coaching, but he's leaving to go overseas to try to make some bucks as a pro basketball player. There were certainly leadership that you got from Alo. You got guttiness because he's always seemed like he was playing hard. What is the legacy, Jarvo? Another legend of the high school ranks that played at the U of M. That's Jarvis Greer. What is the Alo legacy?
Wow, that's something you put me in that. Let me go speak for my Sage of Wisdom post here. No, I think Alo will be beloved in history as it goes down. Alo, remember he originally signed with Wichita State.
Yes.
And back when Tubby was still coaching here, Tubby Smith, still coaching at Memphis, he was going to cast his lot with the Shockers and go there. But then when Penny got the job at Memphis, he asked if he could get out of his scholarship, and that's a tough thing to do. But he wanted to come back home.
Well, that was
and
actually
represent home.
That was a wonderful gesture by a guy who's no longer around, Greg Marshall, because he did not have to let him go, and yet he did.
No, he didn't. But why would you want to have somebody there that doesn't want to be there?
Right.
And I think that figured into it some. But no, it was a good gesture because he could have said no, and everybody knows Greg Marshall's kind of an a-hole if you ever had to deal with him. But no, that was a good gesture on his part to let the young man come back home where everybody knows him, everybody knows your name, and all that, to use the Cheers thing. Right. And he came in, and was he the greatest point guard in the world? No. But he was a solid point guard that was unfortunately put in a position where, he was, I think, after, shooting your shot to try to get the green kid from, out of California that was, end up being the number 2 pick overall and end up signing with, the G League Ignite and doing that. Then Alo becomes the starting point guard. And, his role probably always should have been as the backup, which he would have been perfectly suited for. But since he got thrust into that role, he tried to do the best he could do. And, sometimes it worked and sometimes, he struggled. But he was always out there and he always showed up. He took the criticism head on, kept his head up, kept working. And we saw, what he could do in the, when they made a run, in his junior year to get to the postseason. Then he hurt his ankle really, really bad. And I think that bothered him, through his
no doubt
senior year. But in the playoffs, in the NCAA tournament, he was fantastic. He made the right decisions. He put the ball in the people's hands that are supposed to get him, namely Jalen Duren and other people to get the job done. He played tremendous defense, and he ran the club without turnovers. And and to me, I will always salute Alex Lomax when I hear that.
I think you've got to go back to defense. He was a guy that could change your game with defense.
Yes. What was there? Was there a Wichita State game or something at FedEx Forum where he came in and just absolutely turned the game around? The Tigers were not playing well,
right?
And he came in and just with his defense basically sparked the team to a win. He got several steals, several fast break layups, put the ball in the right spots, and then the Tennessee game. That will always stand out. The Tennessee game at Knoxville.
If there is a moment that I will remember the most about Alo, it would be when that game was over. He was the guy that was taking the front of the jersey and puffing it out to say Memphis. He really felt that he was representing the city. That moment will always stand out when I think about Alo.
And he did, and he represented the city well, no matter where, no matter what, no matter who was, calling his name all out of his name, on social media or on the radio. He still showed up, answered the bell, and gave it everything he had to give every game. So I will always, always appreciate the efforts of one Alex Lomax, the former East High Mustang and Memphis Tiger.
Last thing, and we'll talk more about this as August 3rd approaches. That's when fall camp starts. But
It's coming.
what do you think, or what is your biggest question mark about the Tigers as we get set for this third year of the Ryan Silverfield era?
The running game. That is my biggest question mark. They started out great, did the Tigers last year, had the freshman running back, redshirt freshman running back, who was he was ranked among the top running backs in the nation that through 3 games. He was averaging 120 yards a game or something or other like that. And then they got kind of a fumble problem, and he didn't play, and the backups really didn't produce. And I don't know what's going on with the offensive line, maybe the holes weren't there, but I don't. After being running back for so many years and then not being able to run the ball, that's what hurt the Tigers down the stretch. If Memphis can have a running game, a solid running game, I think the Tigers will be fine. I think they'll go back bowling again, and I think they may even challenge for the AAC title. They got a lot of good people back on defense. The wide receiver, you're going to miss number 4 for sure, Calvin Austin, who is now Pittsburgh Steeler. But they've got other kids that have come on and played very well. When he went out with that ankle at the end of the year, and you've got the quarterback coming back, Seth Hennigan, who was a freshman All-American. And hey, I think they're pretty much set. If they can get a strong running game, then I think the Tigers will. You can pencil them in from 8 to 10.
Well, they got a good running back room from what I have seen thus far. I think there is talent there. We'll see what the offensive line can do. We'll see what this new Tim Cramsey offense is like. He is certainly a dynamic speaker in clinics, as is Matt Barnes. So we shall see. Jarvo, we'll talk more about that in the up and coming weeks. We appreciate you.
It's coming.
And,
thanks a lot, Dave.
It's almost here. Thank you. That's Jarvis Career from Action News 5. He's brought to you in part by the good folks at Grind City. There's another Memphis thing. So we talked about Alo, Memphis native, Jarvo, native Memphian. And now you got the hometown brewery. Of course, that's Grind City, where they've got so many good products. But right now, I'm kind of hooked on Poppy's Pills. What the doctor ordered, it's the pills, the Pilsner. The Grind City makes right here in Memphis. It's light, it's crisp, it's refreshing. It's as good a Pilsner as I've ever had. My kids like to say it's ultra crushable. It is available in 6 or 15 packs. You can get it all over town. Like the Spirit Shop at Poplar and St. Nick, they've got plenty of that. It's best enjoyed ice cold, especially on a day like today. So if you played golf today and you're nuts, or worked on your pool, or cut your lawn, and you're through for the day and you want to relax and you need to be refreshed, there's nothing better than what the doctor ordered, Poppy's Pills. That'll do it for us today. Johnny Radio is next.
Got chronic joint pain? Not having success